Okay, so this is going to be quite a long series. This is a model ride along. We're going to do everything that it takes to make a model. Hopefully, it works out. It'll be quite a few of quite a few videos covering pretty much everything. I don't think I'm doing retracts because I just can't find a good model for that. So I have a resource here, and the model I've picked is, drum roll please. Where is it? Here we go. The Acrosport. And I believe it's been done before um, for RealFlight, but who cares? I mean, the point is to do the whole model front to back again. So we're going to start with this image, which gives us uh, cross sections and a side view, and we have to put together a top view. So I'm going to start with this here. So I'm going to right click here and save on this. I've already saved it, so I'll just save it to the desktop. Okay. And we'll worry about reference at some other point. And we'll start up Photoshop, and I'll open up. Okay, so this is the model here, and I've already run through this once, and we're looking to end up with something looking a lot like this here. We're going to do some processing on the image to make it a little more readable here in Max, and separate image planes will be created for each cross section and each view. So, and then I'm going to show a technique that I use when I have available cross sections. So, okay, we'll just dive into it over here. So I'm just going to go along, and I've noticed on this view here that all of these cross sections are I'm only going to need one half of them. So I'm going to work on the left half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the marquee tool, and I'm moving this selection around by using the space bar. And as long as you hold that space bar around, you can move the starting point of this selection. I'm going to put that right on the halfway point. I don't want to select any more really than I have to here. I'm going to bring it right up to the bottom and right along the edge. Alright, so I have this selected. I have my background layer. It's the only layer that's selected. So if I hit Control J on the keyboard, I'm going to get a cutout of just that selection. And this would be former one, so we'll just call it F1. And we need to reselect that bottom layer so we can keep cutting from it. So we have two here, and do the same thing. And I'm just trying to get as exact a selection as possible. I'm going to select the most complete of either side, and then I'll just flip that if necessary, because some of these show with skin on, some don't have any outer skin on the cross view or cross section. So we'll just make do. So Control J again on the selection, double click on the layer name over here on the side, and we'll call it F2. We have F3 right here. I'm going to continue with the selecting. I definitely want to just get on that half. It's important for me. Just selecting what I want. Control J, new layer. Double click right here where it says layer. F3. Now I'm going to provide the original image so that you can follow along if you want to. And then as each portion is finished, I'm going to as each portion becomes finished, I'll put those files out to the PSD with the finished 3 views and all that stuff, and into Max and all that. I'll just keep providing the up-to-date files so that you can jump in wherever you want to and follow along. Okay, so we're on F5. just a continuation, doing the same thing. Now, I could opt to just pause the video out and come back when this is done, I guess. So I think I'll do that. Okay, so this is every cross-section cut out, just a single half. And I was able to do all left sides except for F9 here. So I'm just going to select that F9 layer, go to Edit, come down here to Transform, and we're going to flip it horizontally. Okay. So now what I'd like to do is to get all of these sections here to center up for me in the very center of the document. So I'm going to select either one of these two. I've made a layer so I could contrast this. That's full size of the document and all of the layers above. And we're going to go up to the Move tool. And within the Move tool here, you'll see you have some tools at the top, and these are alignment tools. So what we want to do is, if I get the tooltip to pop up, there, align vertical centers. So we'll click on that. So now all of them have lined up, so their vertical center equals the same. We'll do the same thing here with this button, align horizontal centers. So now everything has centered up and converged. I would like to do some adjustment here and align everything. See, I'm going to go up here to this auto select so I can get this tallest layer, the F8 layer, which it has selected, and I'm going to hit Alt and push on the eyeball here, and it'll get rid of everything but the layer I'm looking for. And I do have snaps on, so I'm going to just drag a ruler out here, and I'm going to make sure that every one of these are snapped right to the edge of that. So we're going to go here with this one using the Move tool. I'm going to snap that one to the middle of the document here. Okay, and close that one off, and just keep using this eyeball to move things along. I did bump the arrow key when I was on F1. I've moved it over. Okay, and come back here to F3 and just continue this process one after the other, lining them all up on this outer edge here. This is just a good idea for alignment later. Once we're in Max. So just continuing on. And this one's way off. Okay, so now I'm just going to click on the eyeball here and just stroke across all of them. Turn everything on. And so now you can see we have everything piled up on top of one another. So what I want to do next is to crop this document down. We're going to open up the picture once again, the main picture. So I'm going to get rid of this guy here. Don't need that anymore. And this, I guess I'll get rid of this layer. It's not very helpful at the moment. And I'm going to use the crop tool, and I'm just going to crop down to the largest size image here, just so everything gets encompassed in the smallest size document possible. And I'm using your crop tool may work differently than this tool does here. This is CS6, so things work a little differently. Okay, so so we have everything sized. I'm going to get rid of that tool, and again I'm going to come back down here. I'm going to go to I'm going to change the color picker down here to white, so it's on the top box. I'm going to use the bucket fill. I'm going to turn on each layer, and I need to fill on each layer so that I have full white. Now I know some of you that may be watching this have done models themselves yourselves, and you probably think this is overkill. That's fine. Um, it's just the way I like to do things. Doesn't mean it's the way it has to be done. Um, it's just a suggestion. So those new people that are out there, you're kind of getting an advanced course. Um, this model is not going to be a simple model. It's not going to be overly easy to do. So that's a good thing. So all right, so now I can see that some of these don't look incredibly dark. F2 doesn't look great. F3 is not so good. So what I'm going to do is just do a quick image correction on each one of them. Probably could have done that on the overall right away, but I wasn't thinking. So I'm just going to go to Image, Adjustments, and go to Levels. I'm going to move this middle slider to say around 50. Oh, sorry, 0.50. And I'm just going to continue on down the line doing the same adjustment, which would be, let me go over this one more time, which would be Image, Adjustments, Levels, or Control L on the keyboard, and 0.50. Okay, so I'm going to run through here and do this for all of these. Okay, so that's complete. Everything's been darkened up, so that'll really help. So now what I'm going to do is select on the topmost layer, and down here at the bottom of the layers palette, I'm going to choose a new layer, and I'm just going to call it blue. Go over here to the color picker, and I'm going to go to this red value and go to 0, and the green value, make that 0, leaving blue as the full blue, 255 on blue. You'll notice over here that you're not seeing any color. That's because sometimes, at least with my copy of Photoshop, an image will come in as a grayscale image or an indexed image. So what I want to do is I'm going to go up to Image and then Mode, and you can see here grayscale is checked. RGB would be full color. Grayscale, it's not giving me any colors. So if I just click on RGB, it'll ask me if I want to merge. I have a lot of layers, so no, I do not want to merge. And now we can see colors have populated here. So while this layer is selected, I'm going to just fill this in blue. And then straight here above the layers, there's a blending mode drop down, drop up, I guess. We're going to go up to darken, and you'll see that it's just going to darken the image, and we'll get something nice, crisp, and clear, something that's going to be easy to see when we're over in Max working on this. Okay, so I'm going to leave F1 visible here, and I'm going to start saving these out. So I'm going to save as, and I want to make these JPEGs. They'll work just fine as JPEGs. The file size is small enough. Created a folder here. This is a shortcut to a place where I like to store everything, and I create my own. I know I went over project folders, but went over my own, made my own folder because I just find the project folder has too many folders I just don't need or use. So I'm going to go in here to 3 views, and you can see I've already cut this model up. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace each one of these. So it'll be a quick name. I've got FO1, and I'm going to save. I'm going to want, for me, I'll overwrite it. You won't get that dialog. And you want to bump this all the way up to large file. Okay, and then all you have to do is eyeball F1. You'll get the next layer visible. And we can go back up here to save as JPEG, and we'll save as F02. And we're just going to continue on this way, keeping it to be the largest file possible, and continue through the entire thing, just clicking on the eyeball and saving as a new image. All this setup is going to be a good thing in the end. So I'm going to go ahead and go through and save all those out. Okay, so everything's been saved out. I'm going to save this PSD, so I'm just going to click Save here, and you can see, like I did the first time, I saved it as the cross sections PSD, and that was obviously an initial run through to make sure I've got my mind straight on what exactly I'm trying to do. So with that saved, I can close this, and I'm going to reopen the original image, and this time I'm going to be smart with it. I'm going to do a couple things that I should have right off the bat. I'm going to go up here to image and mode, and I'm going to make this an RGB color so I have full color on the image. And I'm going to go here to edit, or no, sorry, image adjustments levels, and I'm going to bump this to 0.50 right off the bat. Okay. All right. So now what we need to do is more cutting out. So I like to just do some initial cutting out. So I'm going to make sure that my box is right here at the nose and touching just at the top of the tail there. Now all the way to the back and at the bottom of the tire. So I've got only what I need. Okay, and the old Control J trick once again. And while I'm here, I'm going to select both these layers here, and I'm going to go to the Move tool and click on the Align Vertical and Horizontal Centers, just to center that picture up. And we'll probably work on that a little bit more, but we'll just name this one Side. Okay, and just turn the eyeball off so we're working with the main image again. Okay, and now I'm going to cut this top view. I'm only going to cut the top half. I'm going to go right to the elevator here, so I've got it all in, right to the back of the rudder, nose, everything looks good. Make sure that bottom layer is selected again, and I'm going to Control J that. So I'm going to turn off that back layer so we can see what we're looking at. And I'm going to take it and drag it down to a new layer, and that's going to give me an exact copy of that same layer. So while that one's already selected, I'll go up here to Edit and Transform, and I'm going to flip this vertically. I'm going to go to the Move tool, and I'm using the arrow keys to nudge this. Another way to do that would be to just touch on the layer here in the viewport, if that's what you want to call it, on the workspace, and hold Shift on the keyboard. That will constrain its movement until we get a click, because snaps are turned on. It'll snap into place. Okay, so we got a good snap there, and it looks like we've got a full view. So I'm gonna right click on the top layer here, which is the one we just made, and I'm just gonna go up to Merge Down, so we get a single layer. And I'll grab the bottom with it, and we'll go ahead and center that up right now as well. And for now, we're going to eyeball that one off. I'm going to go back here to the main picture, and this would be the top wing, one side, and this is the bottom wing. So we want to have two full wings. So I'm going to cut out just this bottom wing here first, right up to the edge, like so. Okay, and Control J that out. And while I'm there, I'm going to make a copy of it, and that new copy will automatically be the highlighted layer. Then I'll go to Edit, Transform, and I want to flip this one horizontally. Okay, we'll grab it here and hold the Shift tool, or hold the Shift key, and move that over until we get a snap. And I'm not really sure if I should nudge it till it's closed. That looks more like it. Okay, so I'm going to merge this down. Right now I'm not naming anything on purpose, because I'm going to combine these images. So back down to this layer, and we're going to do the same thing now for let me eyeball that off. Do the same thing now for the top wing. Okay, right up to the edge. Remember that space bar, that's a handy thing to remember. Control J, that's going to give us just this side. Drag that layer down, make a copy, edit, transform, and flip it horizontally. Back to the Move tool, and I'm going to Control Z here because I need to grab and hold Shift and then start moving. And then I'll snap that in place. And then just till that line gets nice and thin, that looks a little more like it. And I'm going to merge that down. Okay, so now let me zoom in here, and I want to get this cutout. This cutout right here. This is going to be blocking our view to the fuselage. So I'm going to use the pen tool for this, and the pen tool is the Bezier pen tool. It's great for making selections like this, and I'll show you how. You never want to go more than 90 degrees. You wouldn't want to try to create this entire curve with just 2 nodes, and you'll see what that means in a second too. But yeah, you're going to make a click here, and that starts your tool off, and then you go right here to the center. That starts your line off. Sorry. I'm going to get as close as I can to center. Now I'm going to just drag while I'm still holding on the left click, I'm going to just drag it over until I can get this to match up almost perfect. Okay, now while that matches nicely, I don't need to make any more adjustments. If I make sure I click exactly right here on this point, well, it should have worked. So it didn't work. Now what I'm going to do, since it didn't work, is I'm going to hold Alt on the keyboard and click on this node, and this handle disappears, which means it won't continue that curve. So I'm on a third node. I'll click and drag this node until we fit perfectly on that curve. I'm going to hold Alt again and click on this node so that I can get a 90-degree corner there. I'm just going to click over, and then once that's completed, and it's a closed path, I'm going to right click and say Make Selection. And this is asking for a feather radius, and it's a new selection, of course, any alias, and all the settings that are default are what we want. I'm going to click OK, and with the correct layer selected, which it is, I'm going to hit Delete, and we'll delete that out. So now that curve is gone. Okay, so now I'm going to grab these two, go to the Move tool, and I'm going to center this guy up. Okay, and I want to go to the bottom wing, and yeah, I'll center these up. I'm not getting any centering. So vertical center, there we go. And I'm going to want the bottom layer, the bottom wing to be at the bottom, the top wing to be at the top. And this is our fuselage, so I'm going to move that in between those two layers. And I'm going, while the fuselage itself is selected, I'm going to go here to Edit, Transform, and I want to rotate that clockwise 90 degrees. We can see now that we're not going to fit in here. So that's okay. We're going to go up to Image and Canvas Size, and I'm going to grow from the middle, from the center, and we only care about the height, so we're going to go to a percentage. Let's grow this by, say, 30%, and now we'll be able to fit everything in. Okay, so I'm going to toggle off the wings, and I need to do some editing here on the fuselage. So we'll go to the third tool set down here and long press on this and go to the polygon lasso tool, which GIMP users probably use by default. I believe it's just the free lasso that's normally at work. I'm going to cut off all this other information just to clean things up a bit, so we're not getting so visually confused in Max. I'm just going to keep going all the way around here. I don't care about the white. I just try to cut off as much of the writing and the drawing as possible that we're not using. So just continue around. These are positioning points for the wings. We are not in need of those. Okay, we're going to close that off. And I'm going to go up here to select and inverse. So right now we've selected the fuselage and the tail. So I'm going to select the inverse, and now I'm selecting everything but the fuselage, and I'll just hit delete. Okay, and Control D on the keyboard gets rid of the selection. So now I'm going to turn on this bottom wing, and it needs to be moved into position. So so what we'll do is I'll look at this original image, and let's just move it up. I can see that the line that's right here in front of this dotted line denotes the back of the bottom wing. So let's go to the bottom wing layer and just move this up until that wing lines up right there. Okay, great. So now we're going to go to the top wing, and you can see that this dotted line here is this one, and this next line would be the leading edge of the top wing. So I need to select the top wing to do this, and I'm going to slide that up into place. The other thing to do would be to make sure that on the fuselage layer, if I lower the opacity, that my bottom wing is dead centered up, which it is now. Okay, so I'm going to turn the opacity back up here. Now on this top wing, it's blocking a lot of stuff, so I'm going to turn the opacity down a little bit so I can see through. And let me turn that back layer off just to lower the confusion here. Okay, so now I'm going to I think I'm ready to merge these three layers. So what I'm going to do is click on the top layer and hold shift and click on the very bottom layer here, and I'll merge these together. So I'll merge layers. We'll name this top. That's a completed top view. I'm going to select the bottom here so that I can create a new layer underneath the top with the new layer button, and I'm going to click this little symbol here will give you a black and white selection again for color. I'm going to select that white, make sure that I have white on top, and go to the bucket, and I'm going to fill white, and that fills in behind everything here. And then I'll take that top layer and merge that down, and it looks like I need to rename now. Keeps the lower layer's name. Okay, so now we have that, and now I'd like to do the same kind of processing here with the side real quick, just to clean it up. So I'm just gonna go along clicking in strategic places to rid ourselves of extraneous detail, and I can see a problem already, so let me escape that tool. I want to leave these markers in here for the formers so that I know right where they go. That's kind of imperative since we're using cross sections. So I'm glad I caught that. Okay, so this is the same process that we used for the top. I may be talking too much. I'm sure that if you're following along, you're totally understanding what I'm doing here. So just all the way around the landing gear. I believe that's an exhaust pipe. We're almost done. Okay, great. So we've selected the entire fuselage. We'd like to select everything but that, so we'll go up to select and inverse and delete. Oops, I just deleted on the wrong layer. So let me check first just to make sure that everything's still there. It is. So need to make sure that I've selected the side layer. Okay, I must have Control Z beyond this. I need to inverse that selection again. Make sure side selected and delete. There we go. Now it worked. Control D gets rid of our selection. And I'll select the top layer so I can create a layer above that I will name side. And on this layer we will fill white. Matter of fact, yeah, we'll fill white. And we'll go to the top side layer here and merge that down. So now we have a side layer that's pure white and a top layer that's underneath that. And we have a see-through top wing, so we can still see what we're doing for that bottom wing and kind of see how everything works. So now what we need to do is we're going to turn the side layer here, the side image. We're going to turn it so it's pointing upwards. So that would be 90 degrees clockwise. And I'm going to lower its opacity and turn on the top view. And now I'm going to go to the move tool and take this side view and line up the, I'm looking at the spinner here. I'm going to line up that spinner so that we get a nice, the same thrust line here. Okay, so with that done, we can turn off the top view and we can bring the opacity of this back up. And I'm going to fill those out white again so this is nice and solid. And then I want to crop the image down as tight as possible. So I'm going to use the crop tool and I'm going to go right up to the edge of the wingtips like so. And these little black knobs should be pointing outward in my opinion because I'm kind of getting in the way, but it looks like I got it selected. Okay, good. So we can crop this now down as tight as it needs to be, and I'll bring the opacity of the side view up. So now what we're going to do is the same situation as before. We're going to bring the red and green values to 0, leaving just blue. And I'm going to create a new layer on top, fill that blue, go to the blending and go to darken. And that should be good. Now I've oriented these the way that I have, so that pretty much everything's done when you get into 3ds Max. And when you bring the pictures onto the image planes, then everything should be pretty much set up in the Y direction and everything. So your thinking will be done for you there. Okay, so last thing to do would be to save these out. So this is our side view, so I'm going to save the side image, and you can see I didn't do that with the first one, so I'll save this out as side. Okay, and I'll eyeball off side. And now with this on, I feel like I want to darken this even more. Go up here to levels. I'm going to darken it up even more. What the heck, you know, nice and visible. And let me do that with the side as well. And if you're following along, you know, just do this. Just use this middle knob and move it to the right until you're satisfied with how dark it is, without it getting, you know, grainy and messed up. So that looks pretty good, all right there. So I'm gonna save this again. Save as side view. Saving it as the largest file possible. I can now save this as the top view. Very good. I'm going to throw away this bottom layer, and I'm going to save this as a PSD, top and side PSD. Okay, so you can see we'll go over the file structure here. So what I've done is I've got a separate drive, separate from my boot drive, and I even back up onto an external drive as well. But I have my RealFlight personal content, which I spelled incorrectly here. That's my content folder, airplane creation, and this would be all the different things I might use for projects. And then I have a projects folder, and here we have the Acrosport video folder for me. And inside I have a 3Views folder and a source. Within source I have my max file, any imports or anything like that. So I think I end up going in yet another layer, which would probably be good to do before I ever go to max. And we call it images. And then I drop my 3Views into. That's because I have the document open here still. So I'm just going to close that document. I want to move 3Views into images. Okay, it's not letting me do that. So I'll do that once I figure out what the problem is. But within images, I'm also going to make a new folder here, and I'll call this reference. And the last part of this video, I'll just go over just real quick, searching for reference. So here's a few things I like to do. Number one, we're looking for the Acrosport. I'm pretty sure it's just Acrosport, and we're getting a lot of weird results here. So I'm going to go into aircraft, this suggestion here, and view all images. So Acrosport, okay. So now I've got a hint here that it wanted me to separate Acrosport. Let's try this again. Okay, I'm getting a little better results. So I'm going to go here to search tools if you're using Chrome, Google I mean. And I'm going to go to large so I can get some nice large format images of what an Acrosport looks like. Now we're working on a single seat version, so I'm going to avoid looking at these double cockpit versions. So let's refine that search, or at least keep looking here. Okay, so this would be a good example of the plane we're building, and you can already see that the seat is a you can see the finish on the seat in here and some nice little details. So I usually just open this up, right click on the image if I like it, and then having a shortcut to the actual folder that's deep into the other drive is good because it gets me there quickly. I'll go into images, oops, and into reference, and I'll save that out. Another good thing is once we're here in large, we can go to more tools and we can say show sizes. Now we'll get a readout of just how big each one of these images are. This is an absolutely huge image, but again, it's the 2 cockpit version. So we're going to say single seat. And see if we're doing any better here with the Acrosport single. And sometimes less is better, so we're going to just call it single. So we get a side view of what I think the one that we've already saved, or something close to it. And it's revealed a small detail here, this rib, that the cowling's curled out. Now this is full size, so we may not end up incorporating that, but who knows. Here's one with a cutaway that shows us interior details. So yeah, this is the idea. You go around and see what you can find. Another good thing is to put walk around and go to web, and then you just look for an Acrosport walk around website and see if you can get images of the Acrosport here. This would be what I'm looking for. Oh, so there's no walk around right there, but that's kind of the idea. You just keep looking for a few different angles, one from the back, front, a couple from the sides, maybe some wing details, whatever you feel that may end up helping you. So basically what we've done here, let me just to wrap it up, we went out and selected a set of plans for a plane. We brought that into Photoshop, uh, cut up the plans so that we could assemble that into something more usable in Max, and put a color tone to each image, saved everything out as an individual image, and so that would be it for kind of the Photoshop early Photoshop phase of a build. The next step is going to be going into 3ds Max and setting up image planes. So we'll see you over in Max.